Welcome to the damage transfer video. This commando serves as our demonstration mech for the day. Damage transfers from one mech's body part to another mech's body part when a body part gets destroyed by damage. This damage can come from an enemy's weapon fire, or this damage can result from a mech's own ammo exploding, or a mech's own weapon exploding. The damage transfers slightly differently in the case of incoming weapons fire versus some internal component exploding. So let's get to the basics. Here we have the damage transfer diagram. Notice how damage to the left arm, once the left arm is destroyed, any damage remaining will transfer to the left torso. And once the left torso is destroyed, any damage remaining will transfer to the center torso. And same thing with the left leg, goes to left torso, goes to center torso. And the same thing happens respectively for the right side. Notice we have no arrows going from the head nor center torso. That's because damage doesn't transfer from those locations. Damage can only transfer to the center torso, ultimately. The first kind of damage transfer I want to talk about, we already touched on in the previous episode, over critical hits. To review, say the left arm receives over 4 damage here, then remaining damage will transfer from the left arm's armor into the left arm's internal structure, like so. So that's one form of damage transfer. The other form of damage transfer comes when, if damage keeps on occurring, then the left arm is completely destroyed and isn't there anymore. Accordingly, any remaining damage, if it's coming from incoming weapons, would transfer to the armor first, as this transfer diagram dictates. After the armor has been depleted, we then move on to the internal structure again. And after all that gets destroyed, we then move on to the outer armor again until we go to the internal structure, like so. Now supposing we started a turn and the left arm was already gone. And let's say an attack rolls for a left arm location. In that instance, the shot still hits. The shot just doesn't hit the left arm. It hits the left torso instead and does damage normally. So there's a bit of a death spiral effect to this game. The more limbs you lose, the faster you go down. Now for the important part, which is the distinction between incoming weapons fire dealing damage and damage from internal components exploding. Damage from incoming weapons fire works as we just saw. After a limb is destroyed, any remaining damage transfers to the external armor. However, you might notice that this mech has ammo in its right torso. Accordingly, if, say, the right torso lost all armor and took a critical hit, and say that critical hit hit the ammo, that ammo would explode for massive damage, and it would certainly, most likely, take off those last 2 remaining bubbles, destroying the right torso, and with it, the right arm falls off as well. And then this remaining damage does not transfer to the armor of the center torso. No. This is an internal component exploding. So the damage transfers directly to the internal structure. And that can cause a crit of its own in the center torso. And that's the basics of how damage transfer works. And remember, not all weapons explode. In fact, most don't. One of the weapons you need to watch out for exploding is the Gauss rifle, but there are others. And when a limb, such as an arm or a leg, falls off, it falls into the hex the mech was in when that limb was destroyed. You want to remember, there's a lost limb in that hex, because any mech can pick up that lost limb and use it as a club. I like to use little Lego hands, and I just plop it down in the hex after it gets blown up and put them all over the board. And then people pick up the Lego hands and put it in their mech and beat people with it. And it's a great, jolly old time.